Oh, yeah. Is it Thursday already? Okay, let's try this again. Darkside GROGU. These Mandalorian and Grogu leaks are absolutely insane, and we got to talk all about them coming from this German Blu-ray with the synopsis that blew fans' frickin' minds. And we got some Jedi 3 following Cal Kestis, the sequel to Jedi Survivor news. And if that's not enough, maybe even some KOTOR news and Kylo Ren, the Legacy of Vader comics continue to blow our freaking minds. So without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Thursday afternoon? Oh, technology sucks. This is like the third time in 3 weeks that we've had to either restart a stream or had some issues technologically behind the scenes. It's, the worst, but what are you going to do? So we're back. We're better than ever. We're talking about the Mandalorian and Grogu leaks, Darkside GROGU, Cal Kestis, Jedi 3, KOTOR remake, and more. And it's going to be a fun Thursday. We're going to have fun anyway. So I appreciate you guys for coming back. I appreciate Holly for the $5 holla. That's extremely generous. Super chat before the live stream even began. I appreciate that. So let's start the stream, still the only way we know how, by saying hi to everybody in the chat. Shall we? Okay, let's try this again. Jerby McCool, what's up? Brandon Baker in the house. Carry on, what is up? Holly, how we doing? Matthew in the house. Diamond, what is up? The Dave that loves Star Wars, great name. Zaba, what is up? Justin, how we doing? JC in the house. WV Grad, what is up? Darth Plagueis, how we doing? Padme, what is up? All right, April, how we doing? If I missed you, Isaiah, what's up? If I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Isaac, how we doing? Let's give everybody a nice little,
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay. So first things first. How's the stream doing? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Is this going to be like...
I got a bad feeling about this.
Or are we all going to be like...
This is where the fun begins.
I'm hoping for the second one, but we'll see. Let's talk about these Mandalorian and Grogu leaks. I'm going to go through them a little bit quicker now because we already did it once today. However, we got to go through it again because I did indeed delete that last live stream. So, yes, I was sick and tired of it and I didn't want it to exist anymore. I didn't want it to exist. So, let's talk about this. This all comes from this German Blu-ray. The Mandalorian and Grogu 4K limited steelbook edition, 4K UHD. I don't know what U means, but HD plus Blu-ray. Blu-ray. Nice. This comes from Germany. It is all in German. The synopsis is in German, but thankfully it's been translated to English, and it reads like so. The Empire has been defeated, and the remnant of the forces have been scattered to the far corners of the galaxy. Yet, some of the former commanders of this dark era still cling to their power and have since become dangerous warlords who continually challenge the peace upheld by the New Republic. To track down and neutralize these cells, Din Djarin, played by Pedro Pascal, together with his apprentice Grogu, who after his training, Jedi training, has joined the Mandalorians, support their new government. Again, no surprise there. This is how Season 3 ended. This is how we assumed the movie was going to go. Din Djarin and Grogu working for the New Republic, fighting back against the Imperial warlords. We already have confirmed 2, not just 1, but 2 Shadow Council members. Confirmed, ready to go for the upcoming movie. I don't remember their names, but there are 2 already confirmed. Mall trailer today? What? Are you just messing with me, or are you serious? Vixie Poo, I gotta know. Is there a new mall trailer out right now, or what? What? Is there a new mall trailer? Oh, chat. Can somebody confirm or deny this allegation? Anybody? Okay. Well, while you guys figure that out, let's continue. So this next paragraph is where things get really, really crazy, because several clues eventually lead the two of them to the planet known as Karzun, not to be confused with Cara Dune. Karzun, where they not only manage to infiltrate an almost forgotten Imperial facility, but Grogu also discovers an ancient artifact that functions as an amplifier to his abilities. Unable to control these new powers, Grogu becomes the target of an Imperial agents who begin to prepare a coordinated assault on the New Republic, seeing in the small being their opportunity to destroy the enemy of the Empire in a single strike. So that's where things go like, holy crap, mind-blowing, crazy stuff, because Grogu finding an ancient artifact could be Sith, could make him go down a dark path. It amplifies his powers, and the biggest thing, as I mentioned before, is that he is unable to control these powers. So, Darkside Grogu? Are we getting some Darkside Grogu? Thoughts? The rumors say that it's set and ready to go and could be released during Disney's CCXP panel today. CCXP. Didn't know Disney had a panel today. Gonna be completely honest with you, I feel like I'm bad at my job. But sure. Here, I'll pretend like I knew. Oh yeah, the Disney CCXP panel. Obviously. That would be really cool if there was a mall trailer there. Duh. Mike, you freaking idiot. Okay, sorry. I did not know about that, but I don't know. That'd be really crazy. The latest we heard was that January is when the first trailer will release. So next month. We're less than a month away. But getting back onto this. Will we get a Darkside Grogu? Now, I want to put this poll back up in the chat because when it was up before, it was 50-50. So I want to see where you guys are at with this. Do you think Grogu will go dark side? Yes or no? And again, I don't think he's going to go fully Sith. That's not what I'm saying. Not Grogu with a red lightsaber, Sith eyes, even though he's got the Sith eyes in the thumbnail for this video. It just makes for a cool thumbnail. I don't think he'll be going full Sith Lord. He won't be going Anakin and falling to the dark side and becoming Darth Vader. I don't think it'll be Darth Grogu. No. I'm just saying he's already force-choked Cara Dune. He's already done some pretty dark side things. If he finds an ancient Sith artifact, that will only amplify the darkness inside of him, amplifying his powers. And the key words here are that he is unable to control those new powers. I guess if they're light side powers, you probably couldn't control them either if you're not really trained in that way. But still, it screams Sith Lord to me. Screams it. And yes, Matthew brings up a great point. It is a almost forgotten Imperial facility. It's so weird that they phrased it this way. Almost forgotten? What's up with that? Greg says, who else had this as their #1 YouTube channel at the end of the year YouTube summary? Honestly, I did not even know that that was a thing, that YouTube did an end of year summary thing. And you guys sending those to the Discord made my whole year. Like, that was so cool to see that you guys chose this community, this channel, the people who love Star Wars to watch more than anything else. Or even if I was in the top 5 or 10, it was just crazy. It was so crazy, and I appreciate it so much. So, Greg, I appreciate that quite a bit. That is very, very nice. And let's hope for, another great year in 2026. 2026 should be even bigger than 2025. So, yeah, we're hoping for greatness. So, almost forgotten Imperial facility. To me, this sounds like Palpatine. Palpatine's secret project, like on Wayland, most known as Mount Tantus, in the Bad Batch, a hidden Imperial facility that was only known by a few, and then when Palpatine dies, it's almost forgotten about, and nobody really knows about it anymore. Now, the question becomes, what planet is Karzun? Because if you look it up, it doesn't exist. It's not a planet in Star Wars, so it's technically a new planet. But it could already have been in the trailer. So if I pull up the trailer really quickly here, and you guys tell me in the chat which planet you think it could be. I think there's two likely options. Yes, we have the snowy planet that has the AT walkers on it, clearly an Imperial presence there, and that could be the place. There's a lot of that snowy planet in the trailer, but I actually think it's a different planet. Let me show you what I mean. The Mandalorian. Here we go. Mandalorian and Grogu tribe. I actually think it's a completely different planet. And they're keeping it hidden from us. Take a look. So the assumption is that it's this planet. This one. I still am of the mind, until proven otherwise, that this is Starkiller Base. That this is going to be Ilum being transformed into Starkiller Base just because it sounds so damn cool. Okay? What I actually think Cardoon is, or Carzoon, you guys have messed me up by saying it sounds like Cara Dune, because now I just think it's Cardoon. Carzoon, I actually think it's this planet. No, not this one. This is Adelphi. I know that. I'm not stupid. This. A little bit of trailer magic, because these are two completely different planets, as you can tell by the shrubbery right there, and the, desert that, this is Adelphi Base. There's the desert, there's the vegetation, there's the water behind them. This is the exact same planet as this opening scene. Desert / just sand, vegetation, and water. Same planet. But when they look through the binoculars, first of all, it's only one binocular for Grogu. And it's two here, so that's already, two different scenes. However, a lot of Imperials, a lot of Stormtroopers. So I think that this planet right here is Carzoon, not the snowy planet. I still think the snowy planet is probably going to be Ilum / Starkiller Base, which would be awesome. Yeah. It would be great. But this, to me, a couple Stormtroopers standing guard, a planet that looks like we haven't seen it before. This, to me, if they're trying to sneak it in the trailer without giving too much away, this, to me, looks like this would be the Carzoon planet. An Imperial facility. They don't want to give too much away. And we've, to my knowledge, have never seen this before in Star Wars. Yeah. Mall trailers in the Discord? I think we're being lied to here, chat. You think we'll get a season 2 of Skeleton Crew? I hope so. But as of right now, there is no news about that. Let's see. Is there a mall trailer, or am I just being bamboozled? Am I being bamboozled? I am not seeing anything. I think I've been bamboozled. Oh, wait. New mall trailer. Do I click on this link? Last time I did this, I got rickrolled. Do we risk it, chat? On the one hand, it could be this mysterious mall trailer I've never heard of before, which sounds fake. On the other hand, who knows what this link could be? It could be anything. Do we click it? I'm going to leave it up to you, chat. Do we risk it? Do we risk it? Don't do it, Mike. Oh, no. Oh, no. What is it? It's the trailer? I don't believe you. You're the one who sent it. Yes, do it. All right. I'm going to censor it. I'll watch it first, and we'll see what it is. You wonder why I don't trust you, chat. You wonder why. Carzoon. Carzoon. Where were we? I think this is the planet. I think this is a lost, almost forgotten Imperial facility where Palpatine was doing some crazy work on here. I think there might have been some cloning operations happening here. some Sith artifacts, because if it's Palpatine's facility, then there's going to be Sith artifacts. Ones that could give Grogu an enhanced ability, an amplifier to his powers, something that would make him uncontrollable at some points. So, all that to be said, I think we're going to get to see some Darkside Grogu if they're going to a Palpatine secret Imperial facility where there's probably going to be some Sith artifacts that he kept hidden, and Grogu happens upon one of them, maybe by accident, maybe on purpose. Either way, I think this is it. This is Kar Jazun right here in the trailer, and I think Grogu's going dark side. But with that, tell me in the chat, will Grogu go to the dark side? Yes or no? And this poll right now is 50-50. Directly split down the middle, 50-50 right down the middle. That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, what I want to talk about here, as you say, whether Grogu's going dark side or not, is the end of this description. Because it says Grogu becomes a target for the Imperial agents who begin to prepare a coordinated assault against the New Republic. This is going to be our main fight scene towards the third act of this movie. If these leaks are indeed true, again, take it all with a giant grain of salt. That is not confirmed yet, so if I'm wrong, this entire live stream, don't blame me. I didn't make this German Blu-ray. I didn't do this. It's not my fault. So yeah, that just saving my own back. But coordinated assault of the New Republic. This is where the climax of the movie is going to go. This is our third act main fight scene. I don't think this is going to be coordinated by Grand Admiral Thrawn. I think Thrawn's presence in this movie is not going to be felt very much at all. However, I think he'll be mentioned. I think he will be maybe in a post-credit scene if they do that. Holy crap. Hang on. We got members coming in out the wazoo. 5 gifted memberships from Greg. Holy crap. Hang on. Let's get to this. So while we get to this, tell me in the chat. Do you think, 1, Thrawn will be in the movie at all? Yes or no? And 2, do you think he'll be the one coordinating this assault? Because I don't think so, and I think we got a bigger story happening here. This is just the beginning of a trilogy, and Thrawn's going to have to clean up this mess. But we'll talk about it in a second. Let me welcome all these new members to the people who love Star Wars. Greg with the insanely generous 5 gifted memberships. That's so ridiculous. I appreciate that quite a bit. So let's welcome the 5 people. RG, Caramel Kung Fu? Carmel, sure. Erica, Clave Morris, and Cole Coleman. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars. I appreciate that so much, Greg. It's going to do that again. I'm muting it. I don't want to hear the like 10,000 more times. But it's great to see a bunch of familiar faces get those in the chat, so that's nice too. And I missed a couple super chats here. Let me go back. Rolo with the very generous $2 holla says, "Hey Mike, look up the Mandalorian and Grogu 2026 Lego set." Okay. Mandalorian and Grogu 2026 Lego set. Oh, wait, what? Huh. It actually exists. I never doubted you for a second, Rolo. Only completely doubted you 100%. This only $10. That's surprisingly cheap for a Star Wars Lego set, but it's just Grogu, Din Djarin, and this mini speeder, it looks like. Cool. If it is in line with the movie, then we could be going to Tatooine. If this is from the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, it says the Mandalorian and Grogu speeder bike, and the background there is Tatooine. Are you seeing what I'm seeing, chat? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Let's take a closer look at this. Yeah, this is Tatooine. Okay, so here's the thing. This is legit because, first of all, it's Lego and it's from Lego.com and it's Mandalorian and Grogu, Star Wars official, Mandalorian and Grogu speeder bike. Comes out next year with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. But is it just referring to it as like Mando and Grogu's speeder bike? Or is it the Mandalorian and Grogu movie speeder bike? It looks like season 2 Mando, not the Mandalorian and Grogu Mando. But don't they look the exact same? Don't they both wear Beskar armor and look the exact same? I don't think we're going to Tatooine in this movie. It does look like season 2, yes. But he looks the exact same in season 2. But this is weird. Why would they release a speeder bike from season 2 when the movie is clearly going to give them tons of opportunities to give you new Lego sets? That's weird. That is weird. Okay. I don't think we're going to Tatooine in the movie, but if we are, you're talking Boba Fett, you're talking Cobb Vanth. That would be insane. I don't think that's happening, but it would be insane. Okay. But getting back to business here. This coordinated assault on the New Republic. I think this is going to be the failure of the remnant of the Empire, and what actually will be the perfect opportunity for Thrawn to come in as the heir to the Empire. Because when you look at it like this, Din Djarin is sort of just a Lone Ranger still. Yes, he's working with the New Republic, but he's not a member of the New Republic. And if he's going toe-to-toe with some warlords in the Outer Rim, the New Republic, the government, they're not going to care. They're not going to care at all. Harrison Dula comes directly to them, to Mon Mothma, to Senator Ziono, to all those people, and says Thrawn is coming back. And they're like, nah, that's a whole lot of hoopla. They don't believe her for 1 second. So you think if Din Djarin rolls into Coruscant and says, yeah, there's a bunch of, Imperial warlords out here. They're coming together to fight against us. They're going to be like, nah, what are you, stupid or something? They're not going to believe him for a second. So I think what's going to happen here is this coordinated assault is probably going to be unsuccessful. Din and Grogu and the Adulti base members, maybe some Carson Teva, maybe even some Sigourney Weaver and other friends will be able to stop the attack. And in doing so, it will not only feel like a big win for the heroes, like at the end of A New Hope when they have a medal ceremony for destroying the Death Star, but they haven't really accomplished anything yet. When they do a whole medal ceremony for just winning a battle, you're going to get a similar thing happen in The Mandalorian and Grogu, because this is just the beginning of the story, not the end. So that loss for the New Republic, or for the remnant of the Empire, will allow Thrawn to swoop in as the heir to the Empire and go, hey, look, guys, you clearly suck without me. It's time that we come together and unify behind one man, and that man is big, blue, and mean. The big, blue meanie, Grand Admiral Thrawn. So I think what's going to happen here is it's going to feel like a win for the good guys, because it's, the first Star Wars movie in theaters in 7 years. You want to have a feel-good, happy ending type deal. And maybe it won't be. Maybe Din Djarin dies. Maybe Grogu gets captured by the Empire. Maybe it's not a happy ending. But I think the good guys will win the battle. The New Republic versus the remnant of the Empire without Thrawn. I got the New Republic winning that fight. And then Thrawn can use it as a way to, unify the Empire. And the New Republic will be even more oblivious to a attack. With that, let's talk about a possible ending to this movie. I know you guys are very anti-Din Djarin dying. I know that's, like, Mike, why are you killing off everybody? I get it. And I'm not going to kill off Din Djarin today. You're welcome. However, I want to put this past you guys. And I was talking about this on Star Wars Jedi Chat podcast last night with Ron and Nick. Shout out to those guys. But I want to throw it by you guys. What do you think the likelihood is? Because when you read the end of this, it's Grogu becomes the most important thing to the Imperial Remnant. What do you think the likelihood is that Grogu, yet again, very similar to how season 2 ends, Grogu yet again gets captured by the Empire? What if the Mandalorian and Grogu movie ends on a cliffhanger? And that cliffhanger is, yeah, sure, the New Republic wins the battle, but Grogu gets captured by the Empire. You got to think of it this way. If this is going to be a trilogy, if this is going to be Dave Filoni's movie brings all these characters together, a culmination event of Ahsoka characters, Boba Fett characters, Skeleton Crew characters, Mando characters, all in one movie, Avengers level event, there has to be something that brings them all together. And there's two options. I see two options. Din Djarin's death, which would allow all of his friends to come together behind his death, like Phil Coulson dying in the Avengers movie, or Grogu being captured by the Empire. Because then Din Djarin is going to pull out all the stops and go get all of his friends together to go save Grogu. He does it in season 2. He gets Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, Cara Dune. He gets the whole gang together to go save Grogu. And even Luke Skywalker comes in and saves the day. So if Grogu were to be captured by the remnant of the Empire, he would go straight to Boba, straight to Cobb Vanth, straight to Bo-Katan, straight to all the other Mandalorians, and straight to Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple going, hey, you remember that little green kid that you were training for a couple weeks? He's in danger. He needs you. Sounds pretty damn cool to me. No, I'm not killing off characters today, even though Din Djarin's death would be awesome. I'm not doing it. I'm just saying Grogu's getting captured, and the second movie would sort of be them trying to save him. Thoughts? Thoughts? Yeah, it looks like the Imperial Remnant's going to lose. Could be. Grogu gets frozen in carbonite at the end of Thrawn's Strike Back. At the end of Thrawn's Strike Back, and it's not in this movie. I doubt it. I doubt it. I do think Thrawn has to win. Yes, but I don't think he'll win in this movie. I think Thrawn gets his first win in Ahsoka Season 2, where we're going to get a lot more Thrawn in that movie. We already did this. True. Holly brings up a great point. They have already done this arc, where Grogu gets captured by the Empire, and they have to go save him. Yes, I agree. That has been done already. However, how else are you going to bring all these people together? There needs to be something to get behind. There needs to be something to be a catalyst to draw all these different people to come together. Because the New Republic is not going to fight them. They're not going to be the ones who fight. Maybe a little bit of them fight, because we do know that Admiral Akbar, sorry, I couldn't think of his name. Admiral Akbar will be a part of it, and he is with the New Republic. But I still think he's going to be defying orders to not fight. Yeah. So it's going to be Din Djarin, Grogu, Boba Fett, Cobb Vanth, Bo-Katan, the other Mandalorians, probably Luke Skywalker. And what do all those people have in common? None of them are with the New Republic. Din is working with the New Republic, but that's different. They're not New Republic people. So Thrawn's not going to get taken down by the New Republic. He's going to get taken down by these band of misfits. Yeah, the Island of Misfits toys. It's the holiday season. What movie is that from? Is that Rudolph? No. What movie is the Island of Misfit toys from? Chad? Is it Rudolph? I don't think it is. Okay. Way off topic. Okay. These misfits are going to come together and take down Thrawn. It's the last thing he would expect is the really old clones and the Mandalorians to come together to take him down. Any chance of Luke being a protagonist in a new show? Probably not, unless it's animated. Unless it's animated. But I think he will be a part of these movies. Luke Skywalker has already been in the Mandalorian Season 2 and in the Book of Boba Fett. If it was just going to be a one-off appearance of Luke comes in and saves the day, then it would have just been Mando Season 2. But no, he's in a whole nother episode of the Book of Boba Fett. So I think they are going to bring back Luke. I can't imagine a world where Thrawn comes in as the heir to the Empire. The villains that Luke, Leia, and Han, and Chewie, and Lando, and R2, and C-3PO, that the main cast of the original trilogy, they were fighting to defeat the Empire. So the Empire is gone. When it comes crawling back with Thrawn as the new leader, you think that Luke, Leia, and Han just aren't going to be involved? They just will say, nah, we're good, we did our time? I don't think so. So I think those three in particular have to be involved in this story, one way or another, whether it's just by mention in that their involvement is small, or if they're actually there fighting with lightsabers or blasters. They need to be involved somehow, some way. So, yeah, give us deepfake Luke. Give us deepfake Leia. Maybe even give us Alden Ehrenreich as a young Han Solo. But those three need to be there or involved in some way. Yeah. Thrawn has to know something about Palpatine. That would be interesting, because Thrawn is supposed to be this big old genius, you know? He's supposed to be this big genius who knows everything. And if he becomes the leader of the Empire, then you'd think that he would figure out the whole Project Necromancer stuff. When he is with the Empire, he figures out who Vader is. He's one of very few people that know that Vader is Anakin. And he finds out all there is to know about Project Stardust, which we know is the Death Star. And he's not supposed to know any of it. He actually has a conversation with Palpatine because he's trying to get more funding for his TIE Defenders. And he says, just stop giving money to Project Stardust. And Palpatine's like, how do you know that? How are you? What? It's supposed to be our most top secret thing ever, and you know about it? How is that even possible? And he's like, yeah, you know, I'm a freaking genius. Project Stardust is a big old Death Star. Duh. So Thrawn is supposed to be this genius that knows all. And if he's in charge of the whole damn thing, he's going to know about Project Necromancer. He's going to know about Palpatine still being alive. And that does make for quite some interesting storytelling. Yeah. Thrawn isn't in the sequels, so he's not an heir to anything. Well, he's not in the sequels, which makes it even more interesting. What happens to him? He's not even mentioned in the sequels. Like his reign must be very short, you know? Very short. Pelion will tell him. Pelion might not know. That's the thing. Not everybody knows that Palpatine is still alive. Actually, little people do, because it's supposed to be this well-kept secret. Yeah. So going back to the Grogu being taken by the Empire thing, yes, it already has been done in Season 2, but it's not like we haven't repeated stuff before. Look at the Bad Batch. Omega gets captured by the Empire like 10 times. Like that. It's something that can happen again. It's just so funny when you look at this, because when we go back to the leaks we were talking about like 6 months ago, where you had Embo being the main villain of the movie, you had Stinky the Hutt being captured by Embo, and this is the whole plot of the film. You listen to that leak and how stupid it sounds, because it's just a filler episode of what would have been Season 4, and it sounds horrible. And then you look at this leak, and you see stuff like ancient artifacts that enhance Grogu's abilities. He's unable to control them. It's not even the same story. Yes, you're going to have the Hutt's involvement. Those are probably the clues that lead them to this planet. That'll probably be the beginning of the movie. A lot of Hutts with Rada and the twin Hutts and all that. Yeah, that will still be there. But that's not the real thing. You know, that's not the main story. That's a part of the story. But there's so many stormtroopers in the trailer. There's AT-AT walkers in the trailer. The Imperial Remnant is going to be the main story. So the Remnant will go after Grogu and fail again. Maybe they don't fail. Let's not forget the story that we're supposed to be on here. It's a continuation of The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian, all 3 seasons, is about Grogu and the cloning operation. Moff Gideon trying to get Grogu with Dr. Pershing, trying to get Grogu so that he can use his blood to do the cloning operation. That's been the entirety of this Grogu and Mando arc. Yes, it's a cool gunslinger, bounty hunting mission, fun, mission of the week type thing. But no, it's always been the backbone of this entire series has been Grogu's force sensitivity and the likelihood of him being able to create a force sensitive clone. That's always been what this story is going to be about. So to assume that we're going to the big screen and that story just gets thrown in the trash is ridiculous. It's still going to be all about Grogu's importance to what the Empire is doing and bringing Palpatine back from the dead, or even creating Supreme Leader Snoke. Because on Navarro, in that cloning facility, in that Bacta tank, that clone looks like an abomination that looks quite a bit like Supreme Leader Snoke. Yeah. So now let's talk about this ancient Sith artifact. Because there's been a big old fan rumor that it could be a Kyber crystal. And not just any Kyber crystal, but a Kyber crystal from Legends. Specifically, actually, I believe it's in canon too. But Kyber crystal spelled differently. So let's talk about this. Kyber crystal. There is no canon tab here, but I believe it is in canon references. Let's see. We go to appearances. Yeah, so some of these are canon appearances. I guess the KOTOR games are not technically canon now, but still. Its first appearance was in the Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Force Unleashed games are, yes, not canon. The Rise and Fall of Vader, is that a canon novel? I think it might be. I'm not too sure. And then the Legacy of the Force stuff. So, wait. This says non-canon appearance. Are all these? No, these aren't all canon. These games aren't canon. I know that for a fact. Okay, so let's talk about it. What is the difference between the Kyber crystal and the Kyber crystal? Kyber is usually spelled Kyber. Kyber? Yeah, right? Kyber. Hang on, let me spell it. Got my handy dandy pen here. Kyber crystal. I was right. Kyber. But here we got Kaiberr. Kyber crystal. So let's talk about it. The Kyber crystal was an ancient Force relic, initially located on the planet of Sure. 5, locally known as Mimban. Mimban? Yeah, exactly. When it was when in its natural location in the temple on the temple of Pomogema on Mimban, the crystal increases a force sensitive's power 1,000 times over. So it's a crystal that increases the power of a force sensitive by 1,000. And this leak is saying that Grogu's abilities are being amplified by this artifact, which has led many Star Wars fans to think that that artifact is indeed a Kyber crystal. But let's keep reading. Among its magnifications of abilities were the ability to heal. Of the only 2 characters in Star Wars canon we've seen heal, 3 characters, Kylo Ren. One is Rey, and who's the other one? Who was that other one that did the force healing one? Oh, that's right, it was Grogu. The ability to force heal. Maybe he came into contact with this Kyber crystal before, in the 30 years we haven't seen him for. The ability to force heal, to further augment the Force user's connection with the Force, to project Force lightning. Oh my God. If Grogu is out here projecting Force lightning in this movie, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. I'm going to lose it. Okay. But those typically unable. By those typically unable. Sorry. So yes, force lightning for those who are typically unable to do so. Honestly, sounds like Rey too, because she uses the force healing and is shooting lightning from her fingertips. Maybe she got her hands on some kyber crystal. And to empower and energize a tired being close in proximity to the crystal. Sounds pretty Grogu-esque. He gets pretty tired when he uses the force. Not so much lately, but he's gotten some training. If cut properly, the kyber crystal will also work in a lightsaber, because it is still a kyber crystal. The kyber crystal was initially used to heal the sick at this temple. However, for reasons unknown, the area was abandoned. Possibly a almost forgotten Imperial facility. Possibly. Things just keep seeming to line up here. Abandoned, and the crystals became a legend in the eye of locals on the planet of Mimban. The Mimbanites. Nice. The crystal will go on as a legend until around 2 ABY, after the Battle of Yavin, so around the time of, I guess, Empire/Return of the Jedi, when an elder woman named Hala purchased one of the Mimbanites, a shard of the crystal, as well as a map which leads to the temple. The woman enlisted the help of Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa on Mimban due to a crash landing to help the two escape from prison. Unknown to the three of them, this caught the attention of the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Vader himself. Unaware, he and her allies went on this expedition to acquire the ancient relic. So, it's not an ancient Sith relic. It's not an ancient Jedi relic. It's just an ancient relic. This kyber crystal, which enhances one's abilities, especially in the ability to force heal, to shoot lightning bolts from your fingertips, and enhance and energize tired beings. Not only that, but it is able to, power a lightsaber, I suppose. So, all that to be said, abandoned facility, force heal, force lightning, enhance abilities. It sounds quite in line with this ancient artifact that Grogu will find in a almost forgotten Imperial facility, abandoned facility, that amplifies his abilities. He's unable to control those abilities. Sounds to me like this could be what we're talking about. There are other things that it could be, like a Sith artifact that maybe has some powers that would make Grogu unable to control those powers. But a kyber crystal would be pretty damn cool. Oh, and imagine he uses the kyber crystal to get his own lightsaber. That would be even cooler. So Grogu is unable to control these powers, but when he is able to, he then uses that same crystal to make his own lightsaber? Oh my god, that sounds incredible. So let's put it this way. Not only could we be getting this ancient artifact that Grogu and Din Djarin find in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that enhances Grogu's force abilities, making him unable to control them, maybe even using force lightning and going dark side, but he could use that possible kyber crystal to then power his future lightsaber? The Darksaber is gone. It was destroyed in The Mandalorian Season 3. So Grogu is left without a lightsaber when he is old enough to wield one. He didn't get Yoda's, because Luke Skywalker still has that. So imagine that this Mandalorian and Grogu movie gives us a kyber crystal that enhances Grogu's abilities to the point where he could be shooting lightning bolts out his fingertips, and then he gets a lightsaber out of it. He gets a kyber crystal out of all of that. That would be so damn cool. Grogu getting a lightsaber from these enhancements. These leaks are crazy. I will give you that. But honestly, the Mandalorian and Grogu is not going to be pulling punches. It's going to be taking risks. So Grogu shooting lightning bolts from his fingertips, maybe going dark side a little bit and getting a lightsaber out of it sounds incredible. Sounds way better than Embo being the main villain hunting down Rada the Hutt. Both could be wrong. both the Embo leak and this leak could technically be wrong, but this one sounds way cooler to me. Yeah. So, all that to say, I think Grogu's going dark side. And not only that, I think he's getting a lightsaber out of this. But tell me in the chat, do you think this is going to be, if these leaks are true, that this is going to be the ancient artifact that he comes across? It would be really cool because it would be an artifact which yet again would be pulled straight out of Legends, straight out of The Force Unleashed and the KOTOR games, like straight out of Legends, just like Grand Admiral Thrawn was, because he was a Legends character first, just like Rook was in Star Wars Rebels, and just like Mount Tantus was in The Bad Batch. They continue to pull from the Legends material and bring it into live action. So it would make sense they continue that sort of theme going into The Mandalorian and Grogu. So tell me what you think in the chat. And let's check out this poll. Where are we at? 53% of you say no. You don't think Grogu will go dark side. 47% say yes. Still one of the closest polls we've had in a really long time. So Stinky isn't the main character? No. I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. Can I get some good cuts follow orders in the chat, please? They're going to need one hell of a reason why the OP Grogu doesn't show up in the sequels. I mean, yeah. There's going to have to be a reason why Grogu's not in the sequels. 100%. But they've done that before. Why are the Ghost Crew not in the originals? Why is Ahsoka not in the prequels or the originals? Ahsoka is the apprentice to Anakin, and she's not in Revenge of the Sith. Now, the easy cop-out is that the characters didn't exist when they made those movies because Grogu didn't exist when they were making the sequels. Well, I guess he existed before The Rise of Skywalker, but that's too late. So they have to explain in universe where those characters were, and they have to be important. Ahsoka saving Rex and surviving Order 66 with Darth Maul is pretty damn cool. So will Grogu be doing something as important? Maybe, maybe not, but he's a Mandalorian. There's no Mandalorians in the sequels either. So I don't know what the explanation will be as to where Grogu is, but there has to be one. Absolutely. Has to be one. Grogu will be in Starfighter? Honestly, probably not, but he will be in some post-sequel content. He has to be. Has to be. All right, now let's switch gears a little bit here and talk about the upcoming Jedi game. So here is where the news gets a little crazy. This came out yesterday, late last night actually, and this was the news. So the source it's coming from here says reliability is a B, which is pretty high. I'm not familiar with this source, so again, take it with a giant grain of salt, but I've been seeing it from multiple people today. A major announcement for a Star Wars game is coming soon, according to this source. It doesn't seem to be Zero Company, which comes out next year, or Star Wars Eclipse. That only leaves a few other options. So it could be the third installment of the Jedi series, Jedi 3, or the Jedi Survivor sequel. The KOTOR remake, which hasn't gotten an update in years, or a Dark Horse announcement will be Battlefront 3, which people have been begging for a really long time. Battlefront 3 would be great, don't get me wrong. The push for Battlefront 3 has been enormous and really, really cool. I hope it's the Jedi 3 game, because that would mean we're closer to that final installment of the game, and we could get Cal Kestis in live action sooner rather than later. But the KOTOR remake, the fact that it's going to be canon, and it's the Old Republic, and it's Darth Revan, it's kind of hard not to really, really want it to be all about the KOTOR remake. Because at some point, we're going to switch gears completely and go to the Old Republic. Like, we're going to be getting Old Republic shows, live action animation, Old Republic comics, Old Republic movies, trilogies, saga. And the quicker we get there, or the quicker we get this game, the more likely it is that we get there. So I would love it to be the Old Republic, but Jedi 3 is probably the most likely, and Battlefront 3 would be, us fanboy dreaming. Yeah. CCXP could be where they announce this. Yes. So that's probably what is going to happen here. This weekend, from what we've gathered today, is a Disney CCXP, which is where they do a lot of announcements. So for Star Wars, it could be a video game announcement about Jedi 3, maybe give us some updates, maybe from Cameron Monaghan himself, or an announcement of Battlefront 3, which would be like break the internet crazy, or an update on KOTOR, which I think would also be crazy. Possibly. But either way, there's going to be a big old update for a Star Wars game very, very soon. Major announcement, as they put it. So hopefully it's one of these three. I mean, it could be a brand new game for all we know. But hopefully it is one of these three. But tell me in the chat, what do you think it is? Major announcement for a Star Wars game. Or maybe what do you think it is? What do you hope it is? What do you want it to be? An announcement of Battlefront 3? Because that would be absolutely insane. Or something else. I appreciate the hearts, guys. I really do. All three? Well, yes. I mean, the dream would be all three. But let's be realistic. If you could only pick one, Jedi 3 ends on Alderaan.
Incorrect.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Should we put up a poll? All right, let's pull this up. Let's pull it up. Oh, this poll's running away. 56% of you say no, you don't think Grogu's going dark side. I think you're all wrong, but let's pull this on up. Which Star Wars game do you think will get a major update this weekend? Will it be Jedi 3, the third installment of the Cal Kestis games, which I want Cal Kestis in live action. I hope he comes to live action before the game, but it would kind of, ruin the ending of the game. But, okay. Jedi 3, KOTOR, remake, or Battlefront. I've been playing too much Battlefield. Battlefront 3. And no, there will not be an all option. There's only going to be one. You're not going to get all three updates. I seriously doubt it. Yeah. No everything button. You can only choose one. You must decide. You must decide. But either way, we're getting a big old update very, very soon about a Star Wars video game, which is great because we haven't gotten one in a long time. The game this year was... What was the Star Wars game this year? Last year, it was Outlaws. The year before was Jedi Survivor. The year before that was something. Hunters, maybe. The year before that was the first Jedi game? I don't know. But was there a Star Wars game this year? Jedi 3 should be called Jedi Legacy. That would be cool. Yeah, because it's Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, Jedi Legacy. That would be awesome. Lego Star Wars. Yeah, we got that somewhere in there. Yeah. True. Oh, yeah, the VR game. We got the VR game. Yes. Okay. The pod racing one. True. Zero Company is next year. So we're supposed to be getting a Star Wars video game every single year. Starting with Survivor in 2023. 2024 was Outlaws. 2025 was the VR pod racing game. 2026 is Zero Company. So we're looking at 2027. This major announcement will be the game that probably comes out in 2027, which seems like maybe Jedi 3. But KOTOR could be there too, because KOTOR's been being worked on for like 6 years now. A long ass time. Lego Batman next year. Yeah, that's going to be insane. But that's the major Star Wars video game news. Before we get to the Kylo Ren stuff, take a look at this. This news dropped yesterday. Entertainment co-chairman Alan Bergman is unlikely to replace Bob Iger as the next CEO of Disney. why is this important? Well, Bergman was the one who shut down the Hunt for Ben Solo movie. And Star Wars fans who have been very, eager to get this Hunt for Ben Solo movie made, like myself, have been, pretty upset with this man. And he was next in line to take the role of CEO. And now he is no longer. Oh, how the turntables. And I wonder, probably not, but I wonder if Star Wars fans had something to do with this. Now it seems like the Disney Parks guy, I forget his name, but he is the one who is next in line to be the CEO. Bob Iger is done next year. Contract is up. He's trying to retire. He tried to retire 5 years ago, and he had to come back and fix everything. But he's retiring next year. So whoever's next in the CEO position of Disney has a big old role and a lot of Star Wars fans to please. Yeah. So Alan Bergman no longer likely to replace Bob Iger, and he's the one who shut down the Hunt for Ben Solo. There you have it. Okay, now let's talk about the Kylo Ren stuff, shall we? The Legacy of Vader comics that follow Kylo Ren in between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker have been insane. They gave us where the Knights of Ren were during the entire sequel trilogy, explaining all that missing plot points from the sequels, which is great. Gave us Tava, I think. Tava Ren, who's the new leader of the Knights of Ren that Kylo Ren defeats in a lightsaber duel. In last issue, gave us our first look ever at the afterlife in Star Wars, at where all these Force ghosts are just hanging out. And it, made people lose their minds because Anakin wasn't there with Luke and Obi-Wan and Yoda, meaning that Anakin could still be doing some other stuff. But this week's got even crazier because Kylo is on Mustafar in Vader's castle, and he's working with Vader's old servant, I guess, for lack of a better word. And not only that, he got put into a chair and got a Vader mask placed on his head. Look at this. Not only is he in a back-to-tank like Vader was when his limbs were chopped off, but he wakes up strapped to a table in a Vader mask, which, by the way, is like pieced together like the Kylo Ren mask is in Rise of Skywalker, which is so cool. And he gets a Vader mask put on his head. They're doing some really cool stuff here. I mean, when it comes to the comics in Star Wars, it's hard to keep people buying comics because, one, they're just stupidly expensive. But two, it's like, what's the point? Is the story really that important? And when they do stuff like this, it's really, really cool. Now, there is more to this. He actually is fighting Dark Troopers. Is it Death Troopers or Dark Troopers? He's fighting Dark Troopers here. Death Troopers? One or the other. The ones from The Mandalorian Season 2. He's fighting them, and as he's using this green lightsaber to fight them, his hand is in contact with the Kyber crystal, and he bleeds it to red. As you can see right there, his hand is touching the crystal, and he bleeds it to red as he is using his anger to fight these droids. A nice callback to The Acolyte, where Osha does the same thing in the finale, and very, very cool. So, yeah. They're doing some pretty crazy stuff over here with Kylo Ren. Pretty crazy stuff. Yeah. Let's read this. This is sort of explaining the comic itself. Star Wars turns Kylo Ren into a literal Darth Vader replacement, completing The Force Awakens' forgotten story. 10 years ago, The Force Awakens introduced viewers to the sequel trilogy's new villain. Played by Adam Driver, Kylo Ren cut out an impressive figure, and his silhouette made it clear that he was clear from the outset that he styled himself after his grandfather, Darth Vader. Lucasfilm initially kept Kylo Ren's true identity a secret, leading to countless different theories about who he really was. One popular fan theory suggested that he was actually a Darkside Luke Skywalker. I do remember that. Because early on, when the trailers were coming out for The Force Awakens, we didn't know that Kylo was Ben Solo. And so people actually thought that it was Luke, which would have been honestly crazy. The Force Awakens eventually revealed that he was Ben Solo, Darth Vader's grandson, and he was strangely obsessed with his grandfather. In one striking scene, Kylo Ren brooded. Oh, yeah, brooded. I was like, that's not a word. Yes, it is. Brooded over Darth Vader's melted and warped mask. Struggling with the pull to the light side, he appealed to Darth Vader's spirit to guide him, saying, "Show me again. Show me the power of the darkness, and I will let nothing stand in our way. Show me, grandfather, and I will finish what you started." Still, that's a big issue because why did Anakin not just be like, "Hey, grandson, I stopped that whole evil thing and came back to the light." You know? Like, let's not do that. But Anakin wasn't there, so you have to explain why he wasn't there. It was impossible to say what Kylo Ren imagined that mission to be, what his mission was that his grandfather started. Though, because the relationship between Kylo Ren and Darth Vader was never clarified, at least until this week's Legacy of Vader comic. So, here he is putting on the Vader mask. It's important to understand that Ben Solo grew with the sense of a dark presence overshadowing him. But he never knew what it was. The Rise of Skywalker revealed that he never sensed that, and it was actually resurrected Palpatine in his mind the entire time. He only learned the truth of his family line when he was adult, and he believed that the presence he sensed was actually Darth Vader himself. The nature of his relationship with his grandfather's legacy is indefinable precisely because it was undefined, because he knew so little about Vader, because Vader was dead before he was even born. Legacy of Vader corrects all of this, so this new comic corrects it. Set between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, it sees Kylo Ren stumble upon Darth Vader's old manservant, Vanny. Sure. Who tries to tutor him in the origins of Darth Vader until his true agenda is revealed at last. Vanny, we're going to go with Vanny because it sounds like Fanny and it's funny. Vanny was obsessed with Darth Vader and believed that he could transform Kylo Ren into a literal Darth Vader replacement. Vanny's plan comes to a climax in Legacy of Vader 11 when he drugs Kylo Ren to bathe him in Mustafar's lava, replacing him in Darth Vader's helmet, replacing Darth Vader's helmet upon him. So he's literally going to put him in the lava just as Vader did, burn him alive, and then turn him into Darth Vader. Vanny's plan didn't exactly go well, with Kylo Ren refusing to simply become Darth Vader's replacement. He insisted on becoming his own man at last. It's a crucial moment, steeping with significance in the character in character terms, because Kylo Ren is at last claiming his own identity. As he says this, "I am already everything I need to be," Kylo Ren tells Vanny at last. It's Vanay? Is it? I like Vanny better. We're going to stick with Vanny. Vanay, he tells Vanay at last. And it's not clear whether he states this to Darth Vader's servant or to himself. So he might whisper it to himself. He is not Vader reborn. He is not a Solo. He is himself. He is his own man at last. This subtly reframes Kylo Ren's redemption in The Rise of Skywalker. For one thing, it makes sense of his decision to make the mask of Kylo Ren and restore it, which, yeah, people were like, why does he do that when he destroys it purposefully in The Last Jedi? That kind of makes sense. He puts it back together because he is his own man. He's no longer just Vader, so this does help to that, I suppose. And that's an identity that he chooses for himself. All those years ago, and with the mask of Kylo Ren, it's not simply the mask of his grandfather's. Ironically, the decision to become Kylo Ren himself, not simply a new Darth Vader, likely becomes a crucial step along the way to his redemption and his recognition that he still is a Solo despite all of that. And now, yes, that is still there. So, Vader's old servant is literally trying to turn Kylo Ren into Vader 2.0 by making him bathe in the lava pits of Mustafar. You know, just some nice burning alive, as one does. So putting the Vader helmet on is part of that ritual, I suppose. And this is where Kylo Ren says, no, I'm my own person. And what eventually leads him to reconstruct the Kylo Ren mask, and what could eventually lead to his redemption in The Rise of Skywalker. So yet again, the Kylo Ren Legacy of Vader comics are helping the sequel trilogy for those unanswered questions that still remain. Pretty damn cool. Pretty damn cool. And we get so many cool little frames like this, where he's bleeding a kyber crystal, or this, where he's hanging out in the back of the tank and he's putting on the Vader's mask. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah. Vanny like Annie. Exactly. Okay. Palpatine? What are we talking about? So there's that. We talked about that. Oh, yeah. There's another comicbook.com ranking list, but this one is almost impossible to argue with. So let's take a look at this list. Let's start here. All right. Every Star Wars movie ranked by its box office. So it's kind of hard to argue with, how much money it made. So we're not really arguing with this list today. We're just enjoying this list, I suppose. When it comes to the highest grossing sci-fi movies, the Skywalker saga is a consistent presence. I'm assuming The Force Awakens is at the top of this list because it made over $2 billion, but maybe I'll be surprised. I don't think I will, but whatever. I want to see if they adjusted this for inflation. Let's see. Oh, it is. Okay. This ranking is based on worldwide hauls adjusted for inflation. So this is 2025. If the movie came out today, how much money it would have made. Because the original trilogy obviously made a lot less money in 1977 and 1980 and 1983 because it was 1977, 1980, and 1983. So it obviously made less money. This is adjusted for inflation. So it says, note that for the original trilogy, now that two of the three prequel trilogy, the adjustments were made based off their previous release years, as opposed to adjusting their entire gross based off the initial year of release. That made no sense to me, but let's just look. So at number 12 is the Clone Wars movie. Makes sense. It made $103 million, though. Impressive. I believe it sits at like a 10 or something on Rotten Tomatoes. It's really, really low. Its budget, though, was only $8.5 million, so it made its money back. At number 11, Solo, the only Star Wars movie to date, Disney Star Wars movie to date, to not make $1 billion, and the only Star Wars movie to date to lose money. So Solo made $508 million. At number 10, Attack of the Clones. At number 10 is $1.1 billion. That's crazy. And you guys think that The Mandalorian and Grogu won't make $1 billion. Crazy. 10 of the 12 Star Wars movies ever created made $1 billion, adjusted for inflation. So today, if Attack of the Clones came out today, it made $1.1 billion. So at number 10, that. At number 9, The Rise of Skywalker, $1.3 billion. At number 8, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. I thought this would actually be higher. I guess I don't really know what the original trilogy's movies made adjusted for inflation. But Rogue One is pretty high up there. $1.4 billion. Number 7, Return of the Jedi. $1.44 billion. Our first original trilogy movie. Number 6, Revenge of the Sith. $1.468 billion. The Last Jedi. $1.7 billion. At number 5, so we're in the top 5 now. At 4, Empire Strikes Back. $1.8 billion. Kind of crazy that The Force Awakens still made more money than this. Like, this was the biggest sequel of all time, and it made less money. And number 3, The Phantom Menace. Obviously, the return to Star Wars after 16 years of no Star Wars. Well, I guess, no canon Star Wars. $1.9 billion. At number 2, The Force Awakens. $2.8 billion. That means A New Hope? Wow. A New Hope, at least $3 billion? A New Hope had a performance that was pretty tough to unpack. After all, since its initial release in 1977, it ended up in theaters numerous times. Okay, so it's also those included. However, it's certainly the most successful film of the saga, as between all of its releases, it sold an estimated 1.78.1 million tickets, whereas The Force Awakens sold 108 million. So over 70 million more tickets. Furthermore, The Force Awakens price tag was massive. And A New Hope only cost 11 million, which ironically is seen as a massive risk. Yeah, but 11 million is not adjusted for inflation. Compare that to the fact that in 1977 dollars, it grossed $410 million worldwide. That would be about 2.2 billion today. Okay, so at its first theatrical release, it made 2.2. So just over The Force Awakens, adjusted for inflation. Even before factoring in its re-releases, which did make a lot more. So at least $3 billion. That's crazy. Talk about money making. And all that to say, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will absolutely make $1 billion. And if it's really good, $2 billion. And that's not even a crazy statement now, because you look at this, and 10 of the 12 Star Wars movies, if they came out in 2025, would have made over $1 billion. And the two that wouldn't were Solo and the Clone Wars movie. Yeah. There you have it. So with that, I sadly do have to get on out of here. I have an appointment later today. That's why we did the earlier live stream. But let me end this poll. What do you guys think this major announcement for the Star Wars video game is this weekend? 54% of you say Jedi 3, 29% say KOTOR, and 17% say Battlefront 3. I think it's probably going to be Jedi 3 too. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But again, I could not appreciate you guys more for sticking around after that stupid laggy mess that was the first live stream. I appreciate you guys for coming back. And go check out your YouTube Wrapped, because it really did make my day when you guys sent that to the Discord. If you guys are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below. Shout out to Greg for the very generous gifted memberships. That's insanely generous. And all the super chats, I appreciate it quite a bit. Still a great stream, because we got to talk about the Mandalorian and Grogu leaks, which are absolutely wild, and I hope they're true. It really is just the greatest time to be a Star Wars fan. It really is. But until next time, until Saturday's live stream, yeah, may the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. I appreciate all those hearts, guys. I really do. I see them pop up on the side. It's pretty cool. But this was quite the live stream. I know it got broken in the beginning. Technology sucks. I understand. It's, really quite annoying. But we got through it. We made it through. And I appreciate you all for being here. If you have not already, smash a freaking like in this stream. Hit that subscribe. You know the deal. So, yeah, all that fun stuff. And, yeah. If you want to keep the conversation going, talking about these leaks and all this other great stuff, go join the Discord and go keep the conversation going in the Discord. And we will be back on Saturday. So watch out for a short later on today. And yeah, hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody.